It's going. Okay, got the thumbs up. All right, going to call to order the May 19, 2021 meeting of the Shenango County IDA Board. We'll roll call ourselves in.
Raymond here. Blanchard here.
Ryan here.
Leo here.
Gibbon. Corey here.
Burton here. Okay, need a motion to approve the minutes of the April 21, 2021 regular meeting.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, shoot. Different board. We'll vote.
Raymond. Blanchard.
Ryan.
Zeno.
Since I wasn't here, I'll abstain. Okay. Corey, aye.
Burton, aye. Financial report.
Okay, so just a few things I'd like to point out on the financial report. There are no accounts receivable that are outstanding, so I just wanted to note that. Under the account payable, which is on page 3, I just want to point out the $180 registration fee for the New York State Economic Development Council. That is for the training that some of us attended, the ADO training, which we talked about last month. Just wanted to know that's what that was for. And then under statement of activities on page 4, just want to make note of a couple future things that are happening. So under the pilot fees, when we get to that point of the agenda, I'll give you an update on Tiffany, but when we are going to be closing that soon, and they are looking to take care of their fee to us all at once. So we've given some companies an option to spread it out over 5 years. They've chosen to take care of it all at once, which will be about $92,000, between $92,000 and $95,000. They will pay the annual pilot fee each year, but the closing fees they want to take care of all at once. So we had budgeted about 50 because we just weren't sure, and it will be a little higher, which is good because the other ones came in a little lower. Reminder that 25% of that will go to DCC per our administrative services agreement, which will still net IDA about $69,000-$70,000. So we should see some of that activity. We're hoping to close that soon, but I'll give you an update on that when we get to that point. Other than that, it's not a lot of activity on the financials unless you have a question.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the financial statements?
Gibbon.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Great. Any discussion? We'll vote.
Raymond, aye. Blanchard, aye.
Ryan and I.
Zeno.
Gibbon. Corey, aye.
Burton, aye. Great. Bills and invoices. Those will be passed around. For those of you that haven't had an in-person meeting yet, as far as bills and invoices go, we get to review all the bills and the checks being cut. There is a voucher for your signature. At the bottom, you just sign that you reviewed that one. And then any signature, any checks over 5,500 require 2 signatures, either that of Carrie's, myself, or who else is on there right now? Randy. So any of those 2, but those get passed around. You're more than welcome to view them and look them over. And then when you're satisfied, again, endorse the bottom. You'll see signature lines, and then pass it on to the next person. So need a motion to approve the bills and invoices.
I'll make a motion.
Thanks. Need a second?
Corey, second.
Great. Any discussion? Okay, we'll vote.
Raymond, aye. Blanchard, aye.
Ryan and I.
Zeno.
Gibbon. Corey, aye.
Burton, aye. All right, on to old business. Carrie.
Okay, actually, I'll have Joanna take this first one. She's the one that's been working closely with FEMA about our application for the improvements.
So everything with FEMA is going really well. We're in the final stages of the application document submittal. We did a virtual site inspection for the second location, which hadn't had any work done on it. I can give you mileposts if you'd like. And so we're just finalizing the details on that in terms of materials used, hours spent working on it, and other maintenance equipment and materials needed for that. And then it will go to our review committee and they'll come back with questions because they seem to like to come back with questions. And it should be moving along and hopefully close by July for the FEMA portion. And then it has to go to the state where FEMA gives the money to the state will then distribute it to us, which I guess is also a process, as I've been informed by FEMA. But we've been having weekly calls. Melanie Boyer from the railroad has been joining us for them because she's the one who represents the railroad for this and has the most intimate knowledge of things like riprap and stone sizes. Are there any questions?
Is there a local share or is this all gonna be 100%?
There is a local share. I don't understand all of it. I did get an email from the New York State Department of Homeland Security saying that they would pay 12.5% of the 50% that we would be required. So it looks like 12.5% is what we'll be required to put forth. And I've been diligently tracking administrative costs because they will reimburse 5% of that. So
It's only 5%.
yes, I can't do math. It's okay. That's why I didn't go into financial business.
But we have been keeping track since we started this, even back in fall of 19. So Joanna was able to go back through emails and meetings and figure out how much time we've all spent on it. So.
Did they come up with an estimated cost of damage?
I can't remember the estimated cost of damage for the site. The work that's already been completed on it was very small. It's only like 6,000. But the second location came in significantly higher after the virtual site inspection, and it's close to 60,000. FEMA did say that a certain portion of those items may not be reimbursable through FEMA, just things like meals that the railroad usually pays their contractor. But that works out better for us because it was such a low amount before that it was very close to the minimum threshold. So it works out sort of better. They won't deny it for being too low.
I just Joanna's done a really great job. She really has sunk into this and jumped in and out. She knows so much about the railroad. She's my go-to now about any questions. So she's really done a fabulous job coordinating with FEMA. So I just want to, it's a lot of time. So I just like to recognize her for that. We still do not have a communication from the president. We've reached out a couple of times. Joanna has worked through Melanie to try to find out. We're supposed to get this annual letter from them about their future use and intent, which we still have not received. So we'll continue to work on that and try to get some kind of communication from them. And we are also looking at other grants and opportunities for some of the bridge improvements that are needed.
I think, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
The grant thing reminded me. And I do believe that they have applied for grant funding through the Department of Transportation. A couple months ago, they put out RFPs for a number of different railroad projects, and you can apply for like 3 to 5 projects. So I do know that Melanie had applied for a number of items for the bridges and culverts and crossings. So I don't know when she'll find out about it. She did apply, which I found out on a FEMA call. So, but it's happening. There's at least some movement.
That's it. Any other questions? You want me to just keep going?
I got a question for you on the railroad.
Yeah.
Is it unusual for them not to respond? In the past, how do you engage them with their communication abilities, and why aren't they getting back to us now?
I don't have a lot of experience. I've only been here a couple of years, so I don't really know. I think it's a little odd that I haven't received an email back or something. The last time I sent an email, instead of getting a reply email, I got a letter. That was fall of 19 and early 2020. I think part of it is that maybe they just don't know. Maybe it shows me, it's encouraging that they're applying for funding, because to me that shows an intent to use. Maybe they're hesitant to tell me what that intent is until they can find out if they can get funding to help with some of the bridges that are out and some of the other things that are needed. So, I mean, I do also find encouraging that Melanie's been very active and part of the calls with FEMA. So that again shows an intent to want to be communicative. I'm not sure why we're not getting the letter of intent.
And if I may, I'm new to all this, so does it merit sending a certified letter and getting, trying to secure that letter, or is it not good for our relationship?
I don't know if it's good to have that in our back pocket. I don't know if we want to go that far. I mean, I have emailed a couple of times. I don't know. I guess it depends on how far we want to push it. I would be more concerned if they were not being interactive, if they were not participating in FEMA calls, if they weren't securing funding, I'd be more concerned. I really wonder if they're just sort of waiting to see what they're able to get before they communicate with us, because maybe they just don't know. Which I would like a letter that says, well, we're pursuing these options and we'll let you know. That would make me feel better than no response, but it's not that they're not being involved.
So you think the sequence is, we get the grant, then we tell you what we're gonna do?
Maybe, it might be, it might just be one of those up in the air situations, because I just don't know.
As somebody that's been around for a few years, I tell you this, not out of the norm.
Even during the major project, there was one, 3.5 million, whatever it was, 4 million. There was problems that they were having with communication.
Any other questions out there, Berla? Okay. So moving on, Tiffany Solar, as I mentioned when we were going over the financials, we are very, very close to closing that project. We've been communicating with our attorney, and really at this point, it's just final dotting I's and crossing T's. We expect a signature packet soon, so Brian will be in touch with you about arranging a time to come in to sign as the chairman of the IBA. So I think within the next week or two, we're looking to close. So just getting some of those final pieces together. They had an attorney come on board a few months ago, and new people, changes, all that has sort of made things not go as fast as they originally thought, but we are very close to closing that project. Norbit Energy, there was one thing I just wanted to know. So as the last couple of meetings, I told you that we thought we were waiting for a pilot application. Last we heard that the Coventry Planning Board was going to ask us to be lead agency for seeker. Since then, they have some new people on their planning board, and they actually did not have a local law related to solar projects. So they have gone to the Shenango County Planning Board and have asked for a 6-month moratorium so that they have time to create a law. Actually, Shane is here. Shane, do you want to comment on that?
What this is, I mean, we do trainings, we've done trainings a few times over the past few years, talked to planning boards about how and why you should create a local law for this. Unfortunately, many of our towns and planning boards wait until something happens to do this. So this is what's happening, where they get an application for a solar project, and now they're deciding to say, let's wait, let's do a law now. So what they do is they adopt the moratorium, allows them a specific amount of time to develop something. So this is what they've done, is said, okay, we're taking 6 months to develop this. So what it does is postpone the project for 6 months until they get that law in place.
There wasn't a chance that, you and I talked before about the possibility of the county planning board developing the model.
Or there's model laws all over the place. Guilford has one for wind and solar combined, which is what a lot of towns have been adopting. But again, a lot of times it's, well, it won't happen to us. And then when it does, it's, oh wait, what are we gonna do? Now we gotta do something. So this is one of those cases.
Or no, they went on when they were first putting up the cell towers. I just wondered, but there is models out there.
There's plenty of them.
Thank you.
So until that is settled or gets closer, again, we'll see a pilot application. So we'll keep this on the agenda as we know that something down the line is coming, and we'll wait and see. And we've offered assistance to Coventry if they need it, and I know the planning department has offered assistance as well.
I have a question on the laws of Coventry considering, is that in terms of an obstacle, or are they doing road usage? What would some of the laws be that their planning department would be considering?
A lot of times people will consider, whether or not you want development on prime soils, especially for farming, floodplains, and just basically taking another look at where these are sited to make sure that all the necessary things are checked off. You don't want, someone developing a solar site on your best farmland in the town, so you might say, okay, wait, let's, move it out of these areas, or making sure that, decommissioning plan, there's a lot of different things you can put in your law to make sure they have to protect the town for future.
But if the project is large enough, can the state override those local laws?
Yeah, so after a certain megawatt, structure, there's what's called the Article 78 process that the state can oversee, and similar to the hybrid wind project, they do a whole process, but it has to get that certain 100 megawatts threshold.
And if I were the county, if I may interject, I would be entering into road use agreement with all of these. You're gonna see it with batteries. We've got the Vermont well down in Oxford, which they're going to use for pumped hydro, right? They're gonna pump water underground and then let it flow back to turn the turbine. They had some very heavy equipment down there last week that they moved out. I looked at the road, they didn't damage it, but it could. I think it would have been 85-degree day in August. We would have some people damage. My observation, like watching the gas field.
So these laws would require bonds,
In many cases,
and they
I would
set up in advance for them.
And we did good road use agreements. Peter Flanagan and I put that together years ago for the gas rail.
For the county or for?
Sean has models for.
Oh, he does, perfect.
But I would implement those in these cases.
So we'll continue to let you know any improvements with that. Just want to, again, it's on the agenda just as a heads up. We still do not have a pilot application for the Highland Bridge project in Guilford. I fully expect something soon. I have been contacted by somebody from their company to talk about what our process is, and I've sent them the information about the application and what's required. So I expect something soon about that. We do have some contacts with our other IDA agencies in the southern tier that have dealt with this, and so I've been sort of using them as a, what has your process been, some of the things that we should be aware of and all that. So it's been nice to have a colleague that has already done some of these projects. So no communication yet from DOT about the permanent easement in green. Oh, sorry, did you have a question?
No.
Oh, sorry. About the easement in green and what they're going to propose to pay us for that permanent easement. So again, just on there as an FYI, and as soon as I hear anything about that, I will let you know.
Again, and just to reiterate on that, they
Yeah.
technically don't have to pay us a dime. Right?
Technically, yeah.
They're trying to be nice.
Yeah, I guess that's sort of. I mean, they don't want to take, because they could just take possession, but they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So rather than that, they're doing this permanent easement where we still technically own the land, but they can just go on it whenever they want. So it's a little, yeah. And then we did have an open house at the airport last week. Shane Butler with planning had an airport tour, and then we went ahead and did one for the building that we own down at the airport. Went very well, and I know many of you attended, so thank you for coming. I think it was really great to be able to show it to so many people. We have gotten a little traction at the New York State Economic Development Council, shared our flyer. I know Shane's looking to post it with a couple of the groups that he's involved with. So, just doing as much as we can to get information out about the building. Everyone who comes in it is, can't believe how amazing it is, and we haven't leased it yet. So, we have had some inquiries. We'll still continue to pursue those opportunities. But thank you for those who came. And if anyone didn't come and wasn't able to, and you'd like to see the building, let me know. I'd be happy to give you a tour. And that's all for old business, unless there's any questions. Okay, all right.
Okay, so if you wouldn't mind, I know we have some guests
Yeah.
that would like to present under the new business, instead of them having to sit around any longer.
You're not enjoying this?
It's very informative.
No, that's fine. You're welcome to stay even if that's fine. Sure.
If everybody wouldn't mind, I'd like to allow them to go ahead and present it this time.
Okay, so you, everybody got the proposal that we sent, that thank you for putting this together. I'll let them go ahead and give the highlights. So Isaiah Sutton and John Camp are owners of the campus, and Expedition Shenango.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So we're in the kind of feasibility, profitability phase of analyzing this idea. As the summary points out, the idea is put pedal rail bikes on the existing railroad and give tours of the kind of two assets we have, right? It's a beautiful valley. There are tracks that have available time slots at the moment. So I think those two things really lend themselves well to this idea. We've done some homework on whether or not we can rent these things, right? Is there a demand? I think there is. They're become more and more popular around the region. The big hurdle is, can we access the railroad? And that's why we're here today. But I don't think we can access it without your guys' approval, right? As the owners of the railroad and the prime contact with the rail operator. So that's really what we're looking for today, is kind of your approval to get the ball rolling into what it's going to take to lease the railroad, or at least access to it. And that because if that's a non-starter, then obviously our idea goes to something else. So that's really why we're here today. And we really want to come and answer any questions about what we're looking to do, how we're looking to do it, and any concerns you may have.
Yeah, so we're, really what we would be asking the board to do is to say yes, that you're not approving everything. You're just saying, yes, we like the idea, we like the concept, and give me the ability to start talking to the railroad and have some actual discussions to make sure that this is feasible. And that way I can let them know and they can do some more work on their end in terms of numbers, and then we can come back with a, sort of a full proposal. So that's what we're really looking for, is that yes, you like the idea, you like the concept, and you're okay with me moving forward.
What exactly are you peddling?
Sure.
I don't mean that as a.
Yeah. So,
no
pun
intended.
This is
Give us the whole breakdown. What are these?
It's a 4-seat pedal cart, right? So pedal driven. It's a 4-seat cart that goes on the railroad. We lead, our team would lead the tour. So we go one direction, we have staff at the other end, we turn the carts around, and the folks would pedal back. It's a 2.5, 3-hour tour. We could do probably 2 tours a day, probably run Friday, Saturday, Sunday, less demand required expansion of that. We have a lot of natural partners, whether it's the car museum, events in Oxford and Green. We can kind of shuffle these cars up and down the valley pretty easy. So we can accommodate different events as well as regular access right here in the city.
These are really popular too. We've done some research too. We've been working with them for a little bit. Adirondacks, Cooperstown just announced something similar. So this is gaining a lot of steam. So, it hits all the points in terms of tourism and economic development. And think about, we talked about down the road, things that you could add along the trail and, maybe stop off points and things like that. So really this really, I think, would help just send a ripple effect out in terms of economic development.
Yeah, I think it's a nice addition to tourism activities that are already going on. I don't know that it's a get-rich-quick scheme by any means, because just the numbers aren't there, but I think it is something that we believe could be profitable for us as well as add to the community in general.
What is our liability?
There'll be very little liability. We'll be fully insured and fully covered for the activity itself. The maintenance agreement for the tracks is already in place, and that the weights that we're talking about are so low that I don't think any additional labor will be required onto the rail itself. I think we'll be able to pass the places where the trains can't pass now, because we're really looking at most $1,000 or 1,000 pounds of cart if they're filled with guys like me. For the most part, they'll be considerably lighter.
So in essence, what you're asking us to approve is a feasibility study with the railroad.
Maybe not so much a study, but at least, so the one part here is then if you say that, yes, we like this idea, move further with it, we would then start talking with the railroad in actualities. So, the reason the agreement with the railroad is necessary, obviously, if there were to be trains, we know right now that there aren't, but they still do maintenance, they still do things along the track. So we'd work out a deal with them and say, okay, from this, let's just say from May to November, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to do this. Can you make sure that nothing's running around the track? Will you agree to that? Which we think would be easy for them to agree to right now because they're not using it. But we definitely need to have those conversations because they need to know that something will be happening in this section of the track on these days. And so it really needs, even though we own the track, we already have a lease with them and we need to make sure that they're on board with this as well.
Actually, and without their blessing on it, they couldn't pursue other things saying cost analysis.
Right. So they don't want to spend a lot more time in this and figuring that out. If between us and the road, we can't come to an agreement.
Yeah, we found a place to buy these cars. We've also worked with a local fabricator who believes they can build them right here in Shenango County, which would be ideal if we can take that one. But all that kind of has to hold because if the cost or the challenge to getting on the tracks is prohibitive, then it's a non-starter on our end as well.
When was the last time a train actually ran a scheduled route?
I believe it was June or July of 2019.
And it was an ongoing, steady or
There were
scheduled thing?
test
Was it-
runs. It
was
was
it
after,
test-
yeah, it was after the, it was after this election. It was after all the construction had been done and
Right.
there was a big article, I think it was that June, that said, train comes back through again, and they were doing some test runs, but then, Halloween were the floods, and that, literally washed it away.
Yes.
Well,
But that's the
There
problem. They didn't realize it was during the Halloween floods or wind caused the flood, the bridge damage. That's one of the problems because we're trying to help get funding for the idea of repairing the bridges, doing flood repair. And there was no way they could prove that it was done in any of the events that we had for the last 20 years.
well, going back before the 2019 test run, when was the last time a train actually ran, picked up freight, moved it to a break bulk or whatever trains do?
2004. I would say 10 years or so, yeah.
2004?
And
Did that go all the way to Binghamton or did that only do the section when they were using Sherburne? Because they were only, for a long time, they were just running from Utica to Sherburne. They were coming all the way down.
That would have been the last time the track was functioning.
I do just want to add quickly,
4 or 5, 4, 5, 6, somewhere.
Go ahead, John.
And that's when they stopped using.
They go on traffic. So.
I just wanted to add that I did reach out when I was doing research, and there are counties and areas that do have these pedal bikes that also have freight running on them, and it's just an agreement between the FRA, the railroad, the third-party company that has the rail bikes. So when our railroad is up and running for free, it won't necessarily put them out of business if they are able to move forward.
Well, as I and I were talking, one thing, Jack Terry used to be the highway superintendent in Athens years ago. He was a member of a club. They used to have cars they take on railroad tracks to use, but they were motorized. They had a little 4-stroke motor on them. They were all over the place going. I know that, he got in trouble more than once.
Yeah, they ended up on the wrong line a couple times. They were like a car club, essentially, how they operated. So they were a little different. And we kind of have ideas to expand the model, but the first hurdle is access. And once we cross that hurdle, we can, increase our investment.
One thing that we're not sure about, which we will find out, is if we are going to enter into an agreement for this, do we need to then do an RFP? We usually can't just. We need to look at something like that. This is it's not us purchasing something, but we just want to make sure that we have to check the baby on that. So, but we'll go ahead and take that step if we need to.
I personally, there's no money out of anybody's pocket yet. I don't see any reason not to look further into this.
Okay. There may be some legal fees on our end if you're okay with that. It'll be much, but we'll have to get our attorney involved. Just so you know, it's a little bit, but if we have funds to take care of that.
I'll move to go forward.
Great. Any discussion?
Good luck.
We'll vote.
Raymond, Blanchard,
Ryan,
Given that.
Corey,
Great. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
You're more than welcome to stick around since you found so
So I got 3 minutes to work. So.
Oh.
Fortunately, it's literally across the street.
Thank
Just
you.
do an inspection of the kitchen.
And I'll be fine.
Should be fine.
Okay, we can jump back to item A, which is fiscal responsibility from ABO.
Just a quick reminder about the oath that everybody needed to sign. I collected most of them. Most of them did that. So we have it.
I have copies.
Yeah. So if you have not turned yours in, please get it to us. We have it on file. This is separate. I know many of you have to do. You have to sign an ethics form for the county. This is different. This is something that we need to have on file here. Just basically saying you understand your fiscal responsibility, and that's pretty much it. So, but we do need to have those on file. I think you only have to do it once though. Right? Yeah, this is not a board where you're reappointed, it's just till you leave or otherwise leave in some other fashion, so you only have to do it once. That's it, okay. We received a notice from the town of Green that there is a community solar project that they're looking at doing. And they're asking if we have any problem with them being lead agency. This has happened before. I don't see any issue with it. I don't, if they're willing to do it and they have the ability to, this is pretty natural, but they are looking for a response from us. Which this is nice. We're not always told in advance and asked in advance if we mind. So, I think this is good that they're doing that, but, I just wanted to let you know that they'd asked, and unless you have an issue with it, I'll let them know that we're fine with them being the agency.
Everybody have an issue?
Why do they want to?
Right, I'm not gonna fight you over it. Yeah.
Because there's a local lead agency that has full capacity, so they have to be, unless someone else wants to be, which is why they're asking, hoping that someone else will.
I mean, we're willing to do it if someone doesn't have the capacity, like with Coventry, but we're certainly not gonna be first in line.
Do you remember who the first lead agent in the last one?
In Green?
Yeah.
It was the idea.
Okay, so we did it before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so unless you have an issue, then I'll just let them know, please be lead agent and let us know if you need anything. Yeah, I don't know why. Okay, great, all right. We already did the railroad use, and then just a quick update on the rail processing. So I had told you that Cascoon had contacted us, that they were looking to get out of their pilot agreement with us and their lease that they have with us for the property in Bainbridge. We have reached out numerous times to try to solidify what they're looking at. What we really need for them is what their exit strategy is. At this point, we don't even have it in writing, anything from them saying that we would like to officially be out. All I have is the phone call. So our attorney said, well, until we know what they're looking to do, are they looking to have no financial liability? Are they looking, what is the date? There's some things that we need to know because they will be somewhat financially responsible for part of that pilot before we let them out of it. But until I hear back from them about what they're looking for, I can't move forward. So we'll continue to reach out and try to get something official from them.
Are they paying their monthly rent?
They are.
They are, okay, as long as they keep doing that.
Yeah.
Are they in business? Are they operating?
They have an operation in Green. I think it's Green. Yeah, in Green. And they were looking to expand. I did send the property information to somebody else who had contacted us about wanting to do a meat processing facility. Thinking, well, hey, if that worked out and they were interested in the building, then maybe that would be a easy way to get Cascoon out of it, but the property is too small for what they're looking for. So that's all on that. That's it.
Anything to add to that or any questions on new business?
I just have a question on, I guess, the jargon of solar projects. You call them community solar projects. Is there a difference between a community solar project and a privately?
Yeah, so community solar means they're actually giving money back. They're actually giving energy back into the grid. They get no. God.
So community solar.
There's a difference. Apparently, I don't know it.
What's the difference?
Hey, what's the difference?
I mean, it sounds so nice that it's the community solar.
Solar means that you basically sign up to provide the electricity. It's almost like an investor where you're buying or you're investing in that by purchasing electricity. Whereas the other ones are selling it right back to the grid to make a profit. That's the simple version.
And their size different, right?
So that's why I receive these flyers and these promotional sign
Trying
up.
to get you to sign up because
Yeah.
they want to make sure that capacity is completely filled by residents, basically, or businesses or whoever. And that's how they make their money is
Right.
having all those signups. If they're missing signups, that means the other people that are investing in that, their bills are higher. So you want as many people as you possibly can in there so that your energy bills are low. They can still guarantee that 10% savings or whatever percent. Whereas, the other ones are trying to make it bigger because they're going to sell it into the grid to make sure that.
The community solar projects are still going into the grid, but you have shareholders or customers that have the
That's
tag on to
basically,
that 10% discount.
it's kind of, what the word is, but it's designated to a certain place. The other ones are, a lot of times, the one in Smithville right now is a company in, it's Albany or Schenectady that needed tax credits. So they, put a solar panel somewhere else, but they're getting the credits, and it's way different. So there's different ways.
That's why we made the community solar, people pay less per megawatt because they make less money than the traditional one. So that's why when we were talking about the last community solar project, it was less per megawatt, that was why.
Got it, thanks.
Good question. Any other questions? No? Do we have a reason to go into executive?
I don't unless you do.
Does anybody have a reason to go into executive session? Hearing none. Okay, need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay. We'll vote.
Raymond,
Ryan, I.
You know why?
Corey.
Bert and I, we're adjourned.
Thank
Thank you, everybody.
We were all rolling, and we were like, come on, say something.
Thank you, it's great to see everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.